Let's welcome Ms. Majeng Kadimeng.
Good morning to all our colleagues, students, and guest speakers. It is both an honor and privilege to welcome you to today's Young Professional Seminar. My name is Maji Nkadime, and I'm a trainee career guidance practitioner with the Counseling Unit in Johannesburg. On behalf of the entire Counseling Department, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to each of you for joining us to engage in this important conversation about job readiness, an issue that resonates deeply with many of us as we navigate the early stage of our professional journeys. The purpose of today's seminar is to empower and equip emerging graduate and early career professionals with the essential tools, insight, and confidence needed to successfully navigate the world of work. So, over the next hours, we will explore the theme of job readiness, addressing the genuine challenges young professionals face, from creating impactful CVs and mastering interviews techniques to understanding and managing the emotional and psychological aspects of job hunting. So, by attending this workshop today, you are already taking a proactive step towards investing in your future, enhancing your professional readiness, and building the confidence necessarily to navigate the job market with purpose and resilience. This seminar is more than simply a learning experience. It is a remarkable opportunity for growth, reflection, and empowerment. So I therefore encourage each of you to engage fully, take notes, and ask questions to maximize your experience with the content presented today. This is your chance to develop, reflect, and prepare for the journey ahead.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nkadimeng, with a warm welcome. Our first speaker is Ms. Pumla Mtlanga. I'll just read her bio. Ms. Pumla Queen Mtlanga holds a BA degree in Integrated Organizational Communication and is currently pursuing a Master's of Arts in Communication Science at the University of South Africa. Ms. Mtlanga is a junior lecturer in the Department of Communication Science within the College of Women's Science at UNISA. She currently leads the development of an African-centered self-service and student support chatbot, which earned her a third place award certificate for the best poster presentation at UNISA 2024 Innovations Festival. Her research interests are in artificial intelligence, decoloniality, digital and health communication, and student support and co-curricular engagement. Ms. Mtlanga is passionate about using research, innovation, and digital tools to empower students and communities and reimagining higher education in South Africa. Without wasting much of time, Ms. Pumla Mtlanga, the floor is yours. Thank you.
My name is Pumla Mtlanga. I am a junior lecturer within the Department of Communication Science. And my talk today will be about my journey from being a student to an academic, which focuses on development, growth, and resilience, which is something that Ms. Kadimeng also shared in terms of, empowering yourself with essential skills to navigate the world of work. So the theme of today's seminar is very close to my heart. So as I was saying that today's theme is very close to my heart because the journey of becoming a young professional isn't just about landing a job, but it's about discovering who you are, building confidence, making mistakes along the way, learning to keep going even when the path feels uncertain. So my journey from a student to an academic is an example of growth, learning, and resilience, and how it has come to shape my career. So I'm happy that also we will have another speaker who's a UNISA alumni who will also be sharing their experience with you. And the other speakers also will touch on the CV writing and interviewing skills, which are essential when you are job hunting. And also the importance of mental well-being, because there are psychological, aspects that come with studying and job hunting, which I will touch into as I go through my presentation with you. So I hope my journey reminds you that every path, begins with a single, sometimes uncertain step, forward. And each experience, filled with challenges, with up and downs, it prepares you for the next opportunity. So just to provide a bit of background of how my journey started. So my foundation started. So my academic journey began with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication Science, which I started in 2018, and I completed it in 2021, graduated cum laude. So this qualification laid the foundation, which helped me, discover how communication shapes relationships and organizations. And the reason that I chose to pursue a qualification in communication is because I have always, enjoyed engaging with people and sharing ideas. And I'm passionate about, about understanding how we connect, express ourselves, and build relationships, through communication, whether it's face to face or through social media. So after I completed my BA in communication science, I went on and pursued and registered for an honors in integrated organizational communication. Reason being because I knew that while I was job hunting, I knew that I would get hired within the organization. So as I was saying that, so the reason I did a Bachelor of Arts in integrated organizational communication is because I knew that while I was job hunting, I would be working within our get the opportunity of hired and work within the organization, and I would need to understand how an organization communicates, and how internal and external, with its internal stakeholders as well as their external stakeholders. And whether I was going to also start my own business, I needed to know how I would actually navigate that, with my clients or stakeholders that will be engaging with my business. So the qualification, doing an honors in organizational communication, deepened my understanding of strategic and purposeful communication within the organizational context. And once I completed that qualification in 2024, I went on and registered for a Master of Arts in Communication Science, which I'm currently pursuing. And it's part of my journey. And it's not only about research, but it's about growth, discipline, and discovering how theory, connects to the real world. So in terms of my career and experience, so in 2020, was a year of uncertainty for me. Like many graduates, I faced challenges during 2020 because I was unemployed, and I was trying to apply for jobs. I was studying at the same time. So, but I continued, being focused on my studies, and I applied for jobs consistently, despite the rejections. And this period taught me, persistence. And I learned that progress doesn't always look like success, but sometimes it's just, you need to just take a break a bit when you get those rejections, and continue and come back again and keep on trying, because you never know what might happen. So during this period, it's also important for you to have a good support structure, and also to take a break, so that you look after your mental health, because, studying and also looking for jobs can be very stressful. So in 2021, while I was still studying and job hunting, I began volunteering as a lay counselor at the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, which is SADC. And the experience, taught me empathy and patience and the power of listening, which has shaped my approach to communicating with students and teaching. And then in November of 2021, I was fortunate enough, to get an opportunity, to be appointed as a social media coordinator, which was a short-term contract, because I was covering for a lady that had gone on maternity leave. And it was quite unfortunate that the organization could not absorb me at the time because of budget constraints. So it was fine. So when my contract ended, I continued with my studies, kept on applying. for jobs. And then in 2022, I got another opportunity, and I was appointed as a postgraduate student assistant at UNISA, in the Grow Your Own Timber program within the College of Human Sciences. And so during this period, I worked on the BA General project. So what we did on the BA General project, we developed, and structured over 200 curriculums. So I've just shared a screenshot on the right-hand side so that you can see some of the curriculums that we structured. So what happened with BA General is just students were selecting incorrect modules, because the previous curriculum that we had, it just listed all the modules, and students were referred to say, okay, go to group A and B and select whatever, select 2 modules, or go to group G to select 2 of your modules of your major subjects, which confused students, and they ended up selecting incorrect modules. So the purpose of the BA General was for us to structure the modules for the students, so that to ensure that they selected the correct modules for their major subjects. So that was a very successful project that we did. So during that time as well, I also contributed to the Joint Operations Center, which is JOC, which was so I assisted students during the exams, when they needed assistance during their online assessments. So each experience, whether I was volunteering or working, part-time, played a significant role, in shaping who I am today as an academic as well as a young professional. So when I look back, I didn't realize that each of these small steps, whether I was volunteering or short contracts or assisting others, was actually preparing me for something bigger, like a path like the path that I'm on right now in academia. So after I completed, when the BA General was concluded, so I continued to support the students via the BA General mailbox, because we also created a BA General mailbox where I attended to student inquiries, pertaining to their registrations, applications, NSFAS inquiries, auditing their qualifications, whether I wanted to apply for credits or exemptions. So that's where I was assisting students, as well as also on JOC during the exam period. So in early of 2024, I completed my honors degree. And as I said, that I took the next step by enrolling for my master's in communication science program, which was a changing opportunity. And I also, during the same time, I also joined the CHS mentorship program, and I was paired with a supportive mentor, who guided me through the transition from being a student to an academic. So the CHS mentorship program is a 6-month academic development initiative where it involves mentorship, tuition training, research, engaged scholarship. So it was really an amazing opportunity for me to be part of that program. It really, it provided me with the skills that I needed as an emerging scholar. Then in September of 2024, I joined the Department of Communication Science, because when I was working as a postgraduate student assistant, I was still under the deanery. So in September of 2024, I joined the Department of Communication Science as a postgraduate student assistant, and which was a major milestone for me as well, because when I joined the department, I was able to assist in teaching, supervising students, and working in collaboration with 2 senior professors who have played an instrumental role in my growth and development as a scholar. So as I was saying, that one of my proudest moments came in September of 2024, where I co-presented my first academic paper at SACOM, which is the South African Communications Association, which was in Stellenbosch. And then in November of the same year, I completed the mentorship program As I've said, that it was an amazing experience for me, and the end of the program was just the beginning of my career as an academic. So in 2025, which brings us to 2025. So 2025 has been, a busy and incredible year of growth and new beginnings for me. Between January and May, I co-authored my first book chapter with one of our senior professors in the department, which is a huge milestone, which reminded me how collaboration, and mentorship, for emerging scholars is very important. Then in June June earlier on this year, I also created a centralized mailbox for our department, to enhance student support and strengthen communication. Because when I joined the department, we had a conversation with the COD because we wanted to just, improve the way that we actually engage with our students and also attend to their inquiries. So having a centralized mailbox for our department makes it easier for us to respond to our students. So the mailbox was also used to receive abstracts for our conference, because we also had a conference it started on the 20th to the 23rd, which was the biannual international conference on telecommunications and digitality. And then we'll be having the next one in 2027. And I'm hoping that some of you will be attending our conference. You will write an abstract and submit it, and we will see you there. So, and then in June, July of this year as well, during the same time, I also wrote an opinion piece, which was the first for me. I've never written an opinion piece under the guidance of another senior professor within the department, which is the editor of the Communication Review, Professor Renz. So I wrote an opinion piece, which was titled "Unpaid and Undervalued," which is Black women's fight for equality. So it focused on the challenges that were raised by Vati Swandara and Taraj P. Henson and Viola Davis, in terms of the inequalities that they are facing within the entertainment industry, and how Vati Swandara has been blacklisted, in the entertainment industry. And she's actually retired, but I think she's trying to come back now into the entertainment industry so that she can be able to, earn an income again. So that article was included in the newsletter, in the digital newsletter that was launched at SACOM this year, at the Nelson Mandela University. And in September of this year as well, I also achieved another milestone whereby I was also appointed as a junior lecturer in the Department of Communication Science. And around the same time as well, so we attended the conference at SACOM, to launch the digital newsletter, as well as we were also organizing the conference, which was also an absolute success. So this was an inspiring experience for me, because it showed me, how teamwork in academia and is like teamwork in academia, because the conference was a huge success. We worked really well because we planned and organized the conference within 3 months, which was a very short notice. And during the organizing of the conference, I served both on as a scientific member as well as a secretariat member within the conference organizing committee. Then in terms of my current role and academic journey, so as an academic, so my academic progress currently is just that I'm currently pursuing my master's in communication science at UNISA, and my research proposal was approved earlier on this year. So I'm working on getting my ethical clearance right now. And my teaching experience, serving as a co-lecturer on 2 modules. The first module is decolonizing communication studies and integrated communication and the organization. So this has been both a humbling and rewarding journey, because I'm now teaching the very subjects, I once studied, which reminds me how full circle my journey has become. And on the research side, I have also co-authored, as I have shared earlier, the first book chapter which has been published in October. Earlier on this month, it was published. And I'm also collaborating on 2 more papers with colleagues, and I'm hoping that they will be published sometime next year. So my abstract also, I had submitted an abstract to attend an international conference, which was accepted. And so I'll be attending that in the following week, next week. And this is proof that when you keep showing up and working hard, things will tend to fall into place. And it's through, and that growth does not necessarily happen overnight. It happens through consistency, curiosity, and collaboration and hard work. So beyond my teaching, teaching and research responsibilities, I've also had the opportunity to contribute to the department in several exciting ways. So I'm also a member of the research committee, whereby I manage our research calendar, coordinate seminars and workshops, where we create spaces where colleagues can share their work and learn from each other. So I'm also a member of the Communication Review Project, which I've been sharing that I got the opportunity of writing an opinion piece. And apart from that as well, we also organized student writing workshops. We had 2 this year. One we had on the 11th of June, and the second one was on the 1st of October. And if you would like to know more about our digital newsletter, you can also sign up. I'll share the details in the chats as well. You can sign up and get a free copy for yourself. And then if you also want to contribute or write your own opinion piece as well, I'll share those details of our editor. You can also send your pitch or your story to the editor. And then you can also follow our department on Facebook, UNISA Communication Science. I'll share the handles and the handle as well on the chats, so that you can stay updated on the activities or events that we are planning within our department. And then one of my proudest moments that I've also mentioned is also leading. I'm also leading a team that is developing the COMOM-CZ, which is an African-centered AI chatbot for academic and student inquiries that will assist students in African languages. So I'm working in collaboration with our ICT team and a team from our department and other colleagues from the college, so to make this a success. So the project aims to enhance communication and student support through technology and inclusivity. So in terms of achievements, so the past 2 years, being, working within the Department of Communication Science as a postgraduate student assistant and now as a junior lecturer, have been both challenging and rewarding. So in November of 2024, I received the Best Poster Presentation Award in the Master's Student category at the UNISA Innovations Festival. Which is a moment that reminded me how far I've come since starting, this journey as a student to an academic. I also, in March of 2025, I also focused on strengthening my professional and ethical foundations. So I completed the assessor training program and the Epigeum Research Integrity course. And in October of this year as well, as I've said that this is the book chapter that I published with the senior professor within the department, Professor Shepard Mpofu. So it was in the book titled Critiquing Generative AI in Africa's media ecosystems. So, and then in November of this year, I've also, as I've said, that I've also be presenting my master's research at an international conference in Japan, which is a dream come true and a reminder that hard work and persistence, does pay off. So every achievement, on this slide represents not just hard work, but the support and guidance and opportunities I have received along the way, including the people that have supported me along the way, such as Prof. Nkosi, the Executive Dean of College of Human Sciences, and Dr. Zuze Kamkra, the manager of the Grow Your Own Timber program, including my mentors, because, their support and guidance, have actually contributed to my transition and growth as an emerging scholar. So I'm truly grateful for their support as well. So in terms of my next steps and goals, so looking ahead, my short and medium-term goals is to focus on completing my master's qualification, publishing more and fully developing the ComMCZ chatbot, which is a project close to my heart because it combines innovation, culture, and student support. And I also plan to complete the moderator course, to strengthen my teaching and assessment skills. And in the long term, I also want to, I aspire to pursue my PhD and continue publishing. And most importantly, I want to get the opportunity to mentor, the next generation of students and young academics, because as our executive dean always says, that you lift as you rise. Because if there's one thing that my journey has taught me, is that growth is not just about achieving your own goals, but it's also about helping others, achieve theirs. So from my side, is that please do not give up. Stay curious, work hard, even if it doesn't make sense, do it anyway. There will be moments when you feel lost, but take a deep breath and ask for advice, and keep going. And take one step at a time, because every small step forward is still progress. And before you know it, you will look back and realize that, how far you've come. So this reminds me of Nelson Mandela's a quote that he said that it always seems impossible until it's done, and that's what my journey has shown me, that just small steps, you can get there. And so I'd just like to thank you for giving me the opportunity, to share my journey with you. And thank you. I think I end there. Let me just start with the first one. My name is my first year student, supervisory management. My question is advisable for a first year like me to start job hunting during the first year of study? Is for what tips can you give me, and how do I write my CV or for such application? So Ompile, thank you for your question. Yes, you should. So while you are studying, as I said, with my journey as well, you should start as now while you are still studying, applying for jobs. And it's not necessarily only about applying for jobs. You can also, work on starting your own business, So I know there's a speaker that will be coming up that will be offering you also advice on how you can draft your CV and how to conduct yourself in the interview. But what I can say in terms of your CV, just try to be direct as possible, keep it clean, make sure that when you put your CV together, your skills are clear, they're aligned to the job that you are applying for, so that when the person receives your CV, they can understand that your skills are aligned to your skills, as well as that are aligned to the job descriptions. Then, good morning. My name is Amkelani. I'm a final year BCom in Business Administration. And UNISA, how does one become a junior lecturer at UNISA? what qualifications, experience, or steps are required to be considered for such a position after completing a degree? So thank you, Amkelani, for this question. So to become a junior lecturer at UNISA, as I've shared, that you need to complete your, so I did my BA as well as my BA honors, and then I got the opportunity to be appointed as a grow your own timber. So when you are working there, then you'll be able to, to work as a postgraduate student assistant, where you'll be working under mentors that will be able to guide you, and then when positions are advertised, then you are able to apply for the junior lecturer position. Then you'll be able to attend interviews. As I said, that there are 4 KPAs that you need to ensure that you cover as soon as you appointed as a postgraduate student assistant, which is tuition, research, student engagement, as well as academic citizenship.
So the question I have for you now is, did you pursue all your qualifications at UNISA or in different institutions? If yes, what are the advantages and disadvantages of studying in the same institution throughout your studies? Thank you.
Yes, so I did my BA. The reason I did my BA at UNISA, yes, I did my Bachelor of Arts in Communication Science at UNISA. So all my qualifications, I've done it. I've done them at UNISA. The reason being, I selected UNISA because at the time I was, I wanted a university where I wouldn't be able to go to a university, like a public university, and attend classes Monday to Friday, because I was still looking for jobs. So I wanted an institution where I would be able to study online and also be able to work. So UNISA offered me that opportunity to do that. So the advantage for me studying at UNISA is because when I completed my honors degree, I was also able to apply for a bursary because to pay for my studies. So my honors degree, I was paid by a bursary at UNISA because I was studying there at UNISA. And also for my masters, I also was able to apply for a bursary, and it got accepted so that I could be able to pursue my master's qualification. So those are the 2 advantages that I have, I can share with you. I hope I've answered your question, Sianda.
Thank you. I think you did. I just that I normally hear people say, when I talk to different people, they will say that you need to study in different institutions so that you can open up your mind and be familiar with different cultures and stuff. So I thought maybe if you study in the same institutions, it will temper with your opportunities of employment and stuff. But thank you so much for your response.
My issue is, as a student, we come across many wonderful staff members from UNISA. And most of the time when I want to give a compliment, I'm unable to do so. Is there a dedicated email per college, per module, or how can we overcome that? Because it cannot be that you come to an institution and your expectations are met beyond what you're expecting, and there is no dedicated space to say thank you for your service, keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. We would love actually to get compliments from our students, and any stakeholders. So it will depend what kind of compliment that you want to share. Is it will, if it's regarding a module or a module coordinator or a lecturer, a certain lecturer, then you can send it to the lecturer and the COD, of that specific department, so that they are aware that you are sending that compliment. You can also include the dean of that specific college, so that you can send your compliment there. Then if it's administration staff, there are supervisors that you can also, send your compliment to. So there are details that we share on our student inquiries on our website, so that you can find the details there. So when you go student inquiries at UNISA on Google, it will give you a list of all the different email addresses where you can send your compliment to. But if it's specifically for a specific lecturer, then you can send it to that lecturer, or you can send it to their COD, the chair of the department, and copy that lecturer just to say, and send your compliment just to how grateful you are and how they assisted you, that specific lecturer. I hope I've answered you, Lungisani.
Sorry, ma'am. Just
Yes.
as a second question, the reason I'm
Yes.
asking, maybe if you guys can have a dedicated one, is because we had a wonderful lecturer that assisted us as a wonderful tutor, and we were so grateful. And I sent an email, and I even copied their COD, but there is no response to say noted. I don't need anything from them. There's no response to say noted. I have received your email. So hence I'm asking about maybe a central one, a dedicated one, where students can just flood in their compliments and, it's registered. Because the sad part about the tutor was that after the wonderful compliments, the tutor was removed, was no longer available. So that's why I'm asking, how does it work at UNISA? Because it gave me an impression that there are so many good people that are doing excellent work, and when you give them a compliment, it seems like it's out of the ordinary, or it's not expected, or it is an anomaly. And it quite grieved me because I couldn't understand how does it come to the point where a person does a good service, you say thank you, and it's an anomaly, it's not accepted or it's rejected. It was just a very, I don't know how to explain it. It was a weird experience. Maybe it's a mindset thing, but I was not expecting that, because I think it brought me back to the point where it seemed across as if any African institution cannot do greatness or good, or so that is why I'm asking how, maybe I can send you an email or something, but thank you so much.
All right. I'm so sorry about that. Because sometimes maybe it was they missed the email. So the thing is, that's what I was saying, that if you send it to the COD is the best person, or if you also include the dean of the college, then they are aware of it. Also, in terms of our department, we also have Facebook. We have social platforms where you can actually say, and share on that platform, and where other students can also see the good work that the tutors or the lecturers that are doing. So I'm sorry how for that. So I don't know what happened. Maybe they missed it. They missed the email. They were in conferences, but I'm sorry that happened. But yeah, if I can get, maybe you can share that, and then I can see what happened there. I'm sorry about that, Lungisani. But we would love to hear
Thank you so
from you.
much, ma'am.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
love the compliments. Thank you.
Moving forward, we'll go have a presentation from Ms. Kidiboni Nyamagazi. I'll just read her little bio. Kidiboni Nyamagazi, because she grew up in a resilient, hardworking community, Kidiboni Nyamagazi, 28 years, dreamed of becoming a teacher. That dream involved through her educational journey, from a Bachelor of Education to culinary studies, and finally into agriculture, a sector where her passion for learning, providing food, and empowering other converged. After graduating as a professional chef in 2019, she founded a catering business that laid a groundwork for Agripreneur, a farming enterprise focused on sustainable agriculture and community upliftment. Kidiboni, a chief executive of Agri-Premium, oversees livestock and crop operations, managing planning and budgeting, and mentor youth and promotes backyard farming to address food security. Outside the business, Kidiboni is an active community workshops on organic farming and environmental awareness. She credits mentors, including her sister, for instilling values of resilience and service. Her qualifications are as follows: higher certificate in adult basic education and training from the University of South Africa, a Bachelor of Education degree from the University of South Africa. She's in her final year, culinary skills training, Piermont Hotel School, and also short course in e-commerce and business from Globe Foundation College in 2014, in 2024, I mean. So let's welcome Ms. Kidiboni Nyamakazi. Please take the floor. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, my name is Gidiboni, and my journey started as a chef by profession, which was 2017, just after I finished my matric. I registered at UNISA. I started studying since when my matric results were not good. I started studying I did bridging course. And then with God's mercy, I was able to get a scholarship from Piermont Hotel School, which is where I went to enroll culinary. So same year when I started culinary and studying teaching, I was doing culinary and teaching at once. The following year, I graduated as a chef by profession, still continuing my course with UNISA, which now I was studying bachelor's degree in education. After I graduated in Piermont Hotel School, I've realized that working 9 to 8 or 7 to 4, it was just not my passion. I started my catering business because I saw how skilled I was, and I've seen an opportunity in township. Majority of people would go to school, graduate, then look for a job. So with me, it was different. Just after my graduation, I started my own company. Yes, I did apply for few jobs and work in few hotel, but the mindset behind that was meeting people and having exposure. So when I started my catering company, the majority of clients that came to me, it was already people that I met in a restaurant, because each and every time when I was cooking and displaying my food, I would also present myself and present my work. So already when I started my catering business, I was studying in something with different people that knew me. The only difference that they knew me as an individual or as someone that was employed to work. But now when they came to me, they came to me as a business. Um, I did catering for 2 years until COVID-19 hit. This is what I always tell people, that as much as I was depressed in COVID-19, but for me also it was a learning journey. And what I've learned, it was having a one source of income. It's not really a good thing. It opened my eyes, which is why I ventured into agriculture. Many of you would ask your question, why agriculture? When I was busy asking people about the land, because when I started, I had no land. So while I was busy doing my research, I got a lot of people in my area that were doing agriculture would discourage me. They said things like, why would you want to venture into agriculture because you are young? Agriculture is not for kids. Agriculture is not for women. So one thing about me, I love people that challenge me, and I love to prove the point. I love to put it there to people that, dear black child, anything is possible. So one of the things that motivated me to venture into agriculture was the fact that in my community, basically where I'm staying currently, I've never met someone who is in their 20s doing agriculture. So for me, it was trying to motivate people to say, more especially my age, to say it's possible to do it. So 2 years back, which was 2023, I was able to get recognition from Standard Bank through pitch. So I've moved to catering and to agriculture. But it's still food. It's still one big cycle. The only difference is that with food, I learned how to prepare food. Well, with agriculture now, I'm learning how to plow vegetables, crop, and moving to from crop from the garden to a kitchen. So it's still one big circle, it's still one thing. So I was able to get recognition from Standard Bank, and trust me, that motivated me to keep on going. So from that funding that I got, I had to go back and redo my business model, rethink and talk to myself or plan again, because I've never in my life thought that I'm going to be a farmer or I'm going to succeed in farming. So now that I've got a chance to win a funding, and that was just not only a funding, but I was recognized from 100 companies and I was number 3. So that gave me a push. I started now um registering another company, which is Agri Premium. So my first company, it was a Pumelele Tepo project. Then I knew nothing about business. I knew nothing about how to run a professional business. The only thing I knew is I have a skill and I'm good in cooking. But now, since when now I was growing, I had to learn about business canvas. How do you approach people? How do you express yourself as an entrepreneur? How do you present your business? And along that, I decided to do a course in UJ, which was a business course. I did a course in UJ so that I can also gain experience and skills. I also learned e-commerce through Tlo College, because we are living in a fourth industrial generation where everything is done online. Business now are also selling online. So I needed to level up the game. I registered a company called Agri Premium, as you see in my screen, which I focused more in agriculture. But I've realized also the gap where in township people are not taught more about agriculture, or they think if you want to venture into agriculture, you need land. But the truth is, you can always lease a land. You can always find people that are doing farming. You can always also come into business as an investor. You'd still get your money back. So these are the things that I've learned as an entrepreneur, that sometimes it's not really important to be a founder. You can still venture into business, not being a founder, but having shareholders or invest in someone that you see a potential in. After registering that company, I kept on pushing, got recognition from different countries such as Uganda, Congo, Tanzania, where I would get nominations to go there. Last year again, I got funding from a company that was from Ghana. So what I am trying to say is that, yes, I started my career as a teacher, but because of my maybe passion in business and because of my personality, I ended up as a farmer. And trust me, I am doing good. And one thing that I am doing is to make sure that as I am growing or as I'm pursuing more to success, I make sure that I also give back to your community. I teach people backyard farming and I don't charge them. There are courses that I do that I charge them, but now the priority or what I want to see, seeing my youth or my community striving, doing good in agriculture without hesitation of land or discouragement. The fact that I did it, then I believe that there's so many more people that can do it, and also the generation that are coming. I think when I see myself, I want to be an inspiration, not only as a mother or not inspiration in a family, but also in people in a community, coming generation, people that at some point they felt like give upping. Because also me, during COVID-19, before I ventured into another career, which is farming, I had few obstacles where I felt like give upping. We all know that varsity, it's not an easy thing. Sometimes you fail, and that failure, if you don't take it positive, it can first discourage you. But with encouragement and support from the family and friends, I was able to keep on studying. I am still studying teaching. Um, and this year is my last year, but also there are a lot of things that I am also pursuing on the side. So it's possible to try to multitask or do a lot of things only if you'd make sure that you'll plan your time well, because I plan my time. I also sell in e-commerce since when I have a qualification of e-business and e-commerce.
The question I wanted to ask, you mentioned about how you switch fields and you were multitasking. My question is, do you ever feel once you decide, okay, I'm gonna do farming and I'm still gonna continue with teaching, do you feel like one takes over than the other? For example, how do you manage your time so well where you know, okay, everything, even though that I'm multitasking, it's balanced?
So with me, I normally plan my time. So for an example, when I ventured into agriculture, I didn't just wake up and I faced my stepfather is a farmer. First thing I did was going with him in his kraal so that I can see how much time does it spend there, how much money do you need to spend. Uh, with that, it was more like an inside information on how farming is run. So I first planned my time and I had to replan my schedule to say, okay, Monday I'm focusing on UNISA work. Tuesday, I'm focusing on e-commerce, selling in tech a lot, Amazon, blah, blah, blah. And then Wednesday and Thursday, it's farming. Since when I'm still new, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's farming. Then when times goes on, I got too used to it. And then the days ongoing to the crowd started increasing. So at first I needed to be more in the crowd because I had to learn about breeding, type of breed, medication, going to auctions and everything. Then when now I had all information about farming, I reduced my time. Then I ventured into farming. So how I started with piggery, and back then I would only go once to my kraal. Then I pitched. So for a person to pitch, you need to have an inside information on how farming is run. So from winning the pitch, it was more like I'm an expert in agriculture. I wasn't an expert, but now I know more about agriculture, and at least I have fund to pay people and save less time. So at first when I went, I would go more days. And then when times goes on, I decreased numbers due to I was financial stable, having more knowledge about agriculture. I hope you answered.
Chef, would you then say, because I believe, ne, but would you then agree with me that people that do or study or pursue courses that has to do with manual skills like chefs, building, being electricians, tend to be more successful than people that would like study something like that will be dependent on them to be employed rather than having to be skilled to employ yourself? So my question is, do people that are skilled, that study to have skills that they can employ themselves, tend to be more successful than people who will study and then be dependent on the system to give them employment?
My answer is yes. I am saying yes because I think I've seen it with me. When I studied preaching course, I was told that with the qualification, you can be a teacher for grade R. And I've tried so many things. I remember I also tried studying TEFL, where you study online teaching, you teaching overseas, and trust me, it never worked. But if I knew after my matric that having to have a skill helps more than everything, I think I wasn't gonna do teaching. I was just gonna go straight in something that is practical. I was gonna learn a skill. Because even now, as a farmer, I can get a call, someone say, my cow is not fine, or I need goat, I need this and that. Or what do I do in this in case when my farm is not running well? Because of experience, I will charge that person. So in business, we say is consulting. So I go there, I will charge that person. And sometimes you'd find that maybe you just need to give her a cow a certain medication, for me to drive and go to that trial and tell that person that I just give the cow this medication, I get something from that. But with going to school, and I'm not discouraging people that are going to school, but with people that are going to school and studying, you still need to wait for sometimes posters to come out. And sometimes you'd find that posters are out, they only need 2 people, but 100 people applied, and you're still gonna run interviews. At some point, it's draining you emotionally, because sometimes in interviews, they don't just say, come. You'd find that they will say it's 5 stages. And by the time you go to the 3rd stage or 4th stage, you're having faith that, I'm in, only to find out that you're not a candidate that they're expecting. But with skills, something that you'd no one will take your skills away, and you'd always generate income from the skill. So even now, I get money. People get ask for quotation. People come in and hire equipment and deco. That's a skill. For me to go there and set up a deco, it's a skill. For me to talk to you and or to show demonstrate, it's the skill. So from my experience, I would say a skill is better. It's better than academic, but it's not true. I think I'm saying from my own experience that if I know, if I should have known, I was going to stick to my stepfather, learn more about farming, and then just grow within the space. But there's nothing that I'm regretting, because I'm earning, or I'm getting, everything works for me. Every career that I did works for me.
Okay, Jeff. No, I do agree with you, Jeff, because I've seen it with many people with skills. If you're an electrician, you're a plumber, those people hardly needs money, because someone always needs a plumber, someone always needs an electrician. Where if you have a management degree, you will wait someone to say, come be a management at my place. Maybe you'll even be hired by the person that is an electrician to be a manager at his electrical company. So yeah, I do agree.
Other students say, good morning, can I please ask, how are you funding your studies? An example in UJ and now in UNISA.
With UJ, it was a short course. Most of the time it was done online. So the course we used to attend late at 7 until 10. So that's I've managed, because at that time already you're at home. With UNISA, we all know that UNISA is just distance learning. And when I started talking, I said everything is possible if you plan your schedule. So I always plan my schedule to say each and every day I wake up at 5 o'clock, I go for walk, I come back, I go for stock, I come back, I prepare the kids, I go to the shop, I come back, I check my emails, respond to clients, come back again, go to a trial if there's a need for me to go to a trial. So everything I plan for it. So for me to survive, it was through planning, and sometimes prioritizing. I think prioritizing, maybe for an example, when I was studying at UJ, I always sell. So I had to at least pause with selling. Then I wasn't selling online. I was just selling manual. People would order and then I would go and deliver. So I told people to say, from this time to this time, I'm not going to be selling. The only thing that I'm selling, it was the items that were giving me money, or items that my business was succeeding because of it, such as meat. So with that, you need to plan to say, after your workers have cut the meat, they need to package it. Then partner with someone who have a bike, and then they collect it and then they deliver it. Then all the message I would respond at night. Hope you answered.
So other one say, what step did you take into acquiring land for your farming? And other question says, is a young potential farmer who already owns 1 hectare of land, what are the best funding opportunities or programs available for someone like me to start or expand my farming project? Other one says, what practical steps should I take to make my farming more attractive to investors or government funding institutions, such as Department of Agriculture or the Land Bank?
Okay, with the land bank, I have information, just that time is not on our side. Please share my numbers. I'm going to give all the information about land bank. And then how I got land, I bought land at Limpopo, where you go to a chief and buy the land. Anyone can do that. And then the second one I've partnered with someone who bought the land. So I am paying the rent. But the five hectares, I've bought it through the chief. So normally in rural areas, land are not expensive as the prices here. And with funding, please note that everything that you do, always share to social medias. Hashtag I'm doing this. If you can go to my LinkedIn now, you would see that I've posted about this presentation. The more you post, the more you get exposure, the more you get more people. But I am willing to teach those who want to grow professionally. Just my numbers will be shared because I'm checking time. So, and other fundings that you can go for, it's CEDA, CIFA, NYDA. There are plenty of it. I'll share because also last year I got other funding. And before you submit those documents, I can also say, let me go through your paperwork so that I can see that you did everything correctly. But remember, it's business. Farming is free, but a business consultant, you'll need to pay a certain fee, but it's not too much. But yeah, thank you.
So we'll be moving to our next presenter, who is Lungile Kunene. Lungelo Kunene. So I'll just read her little bio. Lungelo Kunene is a proud UNISA alumni and current honors in logistics student. She is the founder of Zile Training Consulting, where she leads initiatives that strengthen Africa's supply chain and talent pipeline. With 10 years experience in multinational companies including Aliva, Reckitt, and Rochette, she brings deep corporate insight. Her work as an SAP ICS mentor and a board executive at the South African Mining Youth Association. Lungelo is passionate about equipping young professionals with skills, confidence, and mindset to thrive in the world of work. Let's welcome Ms. Lungelo Kunene.
My name is Lungelwa Kunene. It's such a pleasure to join you today, not just as a guest, a speaker, but also as a fellow UNISA student who understands what it takes to study, work, and grow all at once. I am proudly from Durban in KwaZulu-Natal, where I attended both my primary and high school. It's where I learned humility, hard work, and perseverance. Even though I am now fully based in Johannesburg, I do remain a Durban girl at heart. And today I speak to you as a UNISA alumni and current honors student in logistics, but more importantly, as someone who's learned that success is not a straight line, it's a journey full of lessons, pivots, and grace. And I really hope that by sharing my story with you today, you'll find something that will resonate with your own, so that you can also craft it and mend it into your own journey. So in terms of my professional journey, my career began in October 2015, where I joined Unilever in Durban as an order management specialist. That's really where my love for supply chain management truly began. I was responsible for customer operations across the African region, ensuring that what people needed actually reached them within the Central Africa region. At Unilever, I really learned that supply chain is not just about moving goods, it's about connecting people and purpose. I was fortunate enough to also have great mentors who also saw potential in me, who taught me the importance of coaching, collaboration, as well as curiosity. And one of my biggest highlights, actually, at the time when I was at Unilever, was that I got an opportunity to go on a short-term assignment in Zambia, where I got to experience a new culture, new challenges, and new ways of working. That experience really then showed me that Africa is really rich with opportunity. And, it also taught me that, it also instilled in me that I also wanted to build a career that contributed to Africa's growth. And then in March 2017, I then joined Reckitt, formerly Reckitt Benkiza, where this is now, I was truly growing as a leader and I was truly tested as a leader. I started off as a customer service executive, but within a few years, I was promoted to customer service manager. And later on, my portfolio was then expanded to customer service manager, taking care of the SADC region, where I was leading operations across several Southern African countries. Reckitt was really fast-paced, challenging, and full of lessons. It's where my spirit, though, for service was ignited. I founded the Reckitt Women's Forum, creating a platform for women to connect, grow, and mentor one another. And that's where I also discovered that leadership isn't really about control. It's about authenticity. It's about service. And, you know, when I began leading a team of 8 and later 11, when my portfolio was expanded into SADC, I learned how to manage not just performance, but people, their motivations, their fears, and their dreams. During this period, I was also pursuing my BCom in supply chain management and operations management with UNISA. And, you know, one thing that I can tell you is that balancing leadership, studies, and life really was not easy. But I reminded myself to give myself grace. And, you know, that's one of the best lessons that UNISA teaches us, that, you know, learning doesn't really have to be rushed. It just has to be intentional. So along my journey, 2020 hit. We all know what happened in 2020. You know, there was COVID, the global pandemic that shook the world over. And, you know, this was when suddenly now supply chain professionals were front and center. Supply chain professionals like myself were front and center, ensuring that hygiene, health, and essential products reach millions of people. So at Reckitt, we were responsible for keeping the shelves stocked when the world was uncertain. It was chaotic. And I'll tell you this, it was really demanding as well. But it was also powerful because I saw what teamwork and purpose can do. And, you know, those months, you know, and hard lockdown, those couple of months in 2020 leading up to 2021 really taught me that resilience, you know, isn't built in comfort, it's built in crisis. And it made me realize that I wanted to grow further, to lead across borders, and to make an even bigger impact in the world. In May 2021, I joined Roche. This is now where I stepped into the healthcare space as a customer service manager. It was a shift. It was a big shift for me personally, coming from consumer goods to coming from a background of consumer goods with my work at Unilever and at Reckitt, now moving into big pharma, if you'd like to call it, in medical diagnostics, where the decisions that you make and take directly impact lives. And, you know, that shift gave me a deeper sense of purpose. Then in January 2023, which is one of my biggest highlights as well in my career, I was promoted to head of supply chain for Anglophone Africa, leading a team of 28 professionals, leading leaders in my capacity. And, you know, this across multiple countries within the African continent. And this is where I then reported directly to the CFO. It was really one of the biggest growth moments of my career. And, you know, I also got an opportunity to become part of a Pan-African leadership team of 7, where we were working on Roche Africa's transformation strategy, We met in Kenya, then later in Dubai, where we helped really redesign Roche's operating model to integrate the entire continent into one cohesive network. That experience really changed me. It's where I really fell in love with Africa's potential and understood that Africa doesn't need saving. It needs systems and belief. And during this time, I was also a founding member of Rochology Africa within the organization, a Pan-African employee network that was focused on inclusion and collaboration. Through Rochology, we were able to create space for employees to share and lead. We also partnered with People and Culture to develop onboarding models, which the 3333 onboarding model, which is a framework that reimagined how Roche welcomed and integrated talent across the continent. That experience reinforced something powerful in me, which was that you don't need permission to lead change. You lead by doing. And even through all of that, I was continuing my studies with UNISA, balancing leadership and learning because, growth is really continuous. In 2024, which brings me to where I am now, I decided to take everything I'd learned in corporate and turn it into purpose-driven work. That's when I founded Zile Training and Consulting, a company that is focused on supply chain training, business consulting, and enterprise development. Our mission is to help African businesses, big and small, strengthen their supply chains, improve efficiency, and develop people. At Zile, we bridge the gap between academic learning and real-world application because I believe that knowledge must lead to impact. And this year, in 2025, after completing my degree at the end of last year, I enrolled for my honors in logistics. My research paper that I'm currently working on is focusing on the role of smart transportation systems in the FMCG industry, a topic that's close to my heart because, the future of logistics in Africa lies in smart, sustainable systems. So in terms of who I am, service really is central to who I am. In April of this year, I joined the South African Mining Youth Association as a board executive, contributing to corporate governance within the organization, but also advocating for youth inclusion within the mining sector. This role has been both humbling and rewarding. It's really allowed me to share my experience while learning also about a new industry that's quite critical to our economy. I mean, as I've said, my career is mostly in the pharmaceutical sector and FMCG. So moving into the mining sector has been a roller coaster for me, but it's been a fulfilling one to be able to contribute to this sector and also learn about this sector. I also recently have been appointed and serve as a SAPICS mentor. SAPICS is basically the leading authority and leading body for supply chain professionals within the African continent. I serve as a mentor working with students and young professionals through the SAPICS Young Professional and Student Supply Chain Mentorship Program. Mentorship is deeply personal to me because my journey was shaped by mentors who believed in me long before I could ever believe in myself. So to everybody that's listening, find a mentor and later become one. That's how we build strong, connected communities of growth. Outside of work, I'm a firm believer in balance. I play golf, not professionally. I'm not a Tiger Woods by a long shot, but it's a way for me to unwind and connect with other like-minded individuals. both on and off the course. Golf teaches patience, focus, and composure, lessons that translate directly into leadership. I am also learning French. I'm teaching myself French through various tools. And I made this decision because French is one of the most widely spoken languages on the African continent. It's part of my goal to be a global African citizen, someone who can connect across cultures and across borders, which is why I took on this task. And looking ahead in terms of what's next for me, I do plan to pursue my master's degree next year. I do also plan to expand my organization, Zile, into the construction and mining sector and continue serving on boards where I can make a difference. And in terms of then looking back on my journey, from Durban to Johannesburg, from Unilever to Roche, and now into my entrepreneurship, my journey has taught me a few lessons that I'll share with you, 4 lessons that I'll share with you. The first one is that resilience is not built in comfort. It's built when life tests your limits. The second one is that grace is part of growth. You need to be patient with yourself. And the third lesson is that leadership is about service. Whenever I speak about, who I am, or putting myself in a box, in a nutshell, I always say that I'm about people, purpose, and service. And one thing that leadership has taught me is that, if you are called to lead, it's service. And the more you give, the more that you grow. And the fourth lesson to you all is that your degree is not your destination. It's really your foundation. UNISA gives us that foundation to build futures we couldn't imagine before. And in closing, to all of you, to every UNISA student, graduate, or young professional that's joining us today, I want you to know this. Your journey is not always going to be easy. There will be challenges, there will be doubts and delays, but every single step that you take is going to matter. Every small victory counts. I am here today not because my path was perfect, but because I also refused to quit. So as you move forward, be patient with your path, be brave with your dreams, and be purposeful with your impact. Because one day you'll look back and you'll realize that, every challenge, every long night, every sacrifice was preparing you for the stage you were meant to stand on. So thank you very much for having me today, Program Director. And I will end there. Thank you.
I'd like to ask Ulungelo, what's her take on transport economy in the transport economy and logistics within the African continent? I see that she's doing honors in logistics. So I'd like to know, how does she view the transport economy and logistics within the African continent? This subject is close to me because it's one of my majoring subjects for my diploma. So I'd like to know, since she has the experience within the African continent, what would her take be on that subject?
My take really is that in terms of the current state of transport and logistics within Africa, there are various infrastructure gaps. Many African countries are struggling with, inadequate road, rail, and port infrastructure. We also have fragmented systems where transport networks are fragmented across borders. And there's also a pressure that comes from urbanization. So some of the opportunities that exist, are through the Pan-African Free Trade Agreement, public and private partnerships that would, support infrastructure investment, which would be a realistic path to develop our ports and rails and road networks faster. And one thing that I can say, though, is Africa's transports and logistics sector is at a transformative stage. Yes, there are challenges like poor infrastructure and high costs also remain, but there's the combination of our continental regional agreements, urban growth, and digital adoption, would be able to create fertile ground for growth. Thank you.
Mr. Fatone Makarani, can you please take the floor?
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to appreciate you, my sister Mama Shu, and the colleagues, myself, Salam, the rest who have put this together. I want to appreciate you, colleagues. This is very important for students because I think this is not the end product, but after you study, you graduate, you do everything. You also have to think about getting a job. And there's a lot of things that come into mind. One has to think, if I don't get a job and they're qualified, those who did not go to school, who don't have degrees, and they're working, they're having flashy cars and so on. So they will end up saying, school is useless. At the same time, because you are expected to be a role model to the youth, the youth will also think that school is useless. What is the purpose of going to school? And those are the ramification or the effect psychologically which come as a result of job hunting or looking for a job or hunting for a job. If I use the concept hunting for a job, one will also think that this is a serious matter because the hunters knows that sometimes they may come back empty-handed, even if the animals were there, or they cannot even get any animals that particular day because the animals are sleeping or whatever the reason might be. So that becomes a big concept, job hunting. And there's a lot of things to take into consideration when one thinks about job hunting or looking for a job, right? Psychological impact, it would be things such as embarking on job hunt can be quite a journey because looking for a job, the principle is looking for a job is a job itself because you also have to put the resources together, CV, mental preparation, and so on and so on and so on. This can also have a toll on your self-esteem because if you don't have that, it can also lower your self-esteem and it can even reduce your motivation. And that alone, it will affect you even going forward to the next interview. Imagine going for 3 or 4 interviews and all of them, they never called you back, or 10 interviews in a year. Luckily, you are shortlisted, but none of them come back to you or give you where you should improve. That alone has got a toll psychologically. It's also essential to recognize this connection as we navigate through together with the compassion and support, because sometimes we need to support you. Sometimes you need to do reflection, self-introspection after going through the interview, after going through the job hunting. You need to go through introspection. What worked well, what didn't work well, where to improve, what to reduce, and so on, because it's very important. Yes, I'm at the stage, me, in my life, whereby I think any position that I can challenge, which I know that I'm within the boundaries of getting it, I should get it. That is the confidence that I have. And if I don't get it, I don't blame the people who are interviewing me. I might worry about maybe I was overconfident that I might have told them more than what they were expecting. And as such, I become a threat to the people that I'm going to work with. And they said, this one, should we take him? It's going to be a challenge. So I'm saying this because I don't want you to think negatively when you go to the interview, why they didn't take you. Maybe you did not perform to the best of your knowledge. Sometimes you've done that. It's just that those that you are going to report to, they feel you are a threat because you are more than their position. You are applying for the supervisor position, but the manager says, you know what, this one, Musi, what he's giving us is more than my job. I don't want you to take this guy because within no time he's going to be my director. No, don't take this one. So don't feel bad. Imagine you're going to the company where in Patwani, it doesn't even have a doctoral or master's. You have got a master's qualification, but you not tell them, right? The person you are reporting to is only have a degree, not even honors, all right? After 3 months or 4 months, well, we're used to the company, the opportunity comes, you apply for the higher position above that person, and that person has to report to you. So those are the kind of dynamics that you need to think about, that sometimes it's about what you put in your CV, sometimes it's about what you told them, which might make them to feel threatened by your presence. So there is a negative psychological effects with this one, then that can bring about stress and anxiety. Constant uncertainty about the future, finances, and career direction can trigger high stress. Sometimes you don't even have kids yet, and then you're worried. Now I'm 35. I haven't got kids. I haven't got a job. Now, when I start to get a job, I must plan about family planning. I wanted to have 5 kids. Chances of me to have the 5th kids is going to be during my pension years, and my kids are going to go to school with my pension money. I want to enjoy my pension. I won't go to Dubai. I won't go to. There's a lot of places that you may think about when you talk about this. So now, I want you to think about this because sometimes you might now think about no, it's just a matter of getting a job, but it affects the other aspect of your life. If you haven't started a family, if you haven't done this, then you start to think, oh gosh, now when I get my job, I need to earn 50,000. But chances are to get a job that can earn that money is not possible in the first 2 years. Then you need to work around up to go to that kind of level. And maybe the place that you want to stay, which is safer for security reason or whatever the reason might be, considering the qualification that you have, it costs you maybe 20,000 from your salary. And you are going to look for a job that you earn 30,000. Chances are there's a mismatch now already that affect the way in which you do things. Your child will need 3,000 to go to school, your petrol money and your wife money and whatever you call it. Then you will be cropping into the future money and eating the future money in the process. That's where you're going to be living in credit cards, trying to impress people who don't even exist, don't even care about your life. The pressure to perform well in the interviews or meet expectation adds to anxiety. Sometimes when you move out from the house, you ask yourself, what if I flutter in the interview? What if they ask me the question that I'm not aware of? So those are kind of aspects, I think my colleagues, because I was not listening to them, they might have prepared you that these are the things that you must think about when you are planning about preparing for the job market, preparing for the interview. So sometimes you can be rejected based on what I have said. So don't take it personally. Don't personalize it in such a way that you feel powerless. So even when you do the interview, go and buy yourself ice cream and say, I think I nailed it. Even if you don't get the position, you don't just say, perhaps they are scared that if I come to their company, I'm going to take their position. Low for self-esteem and self-worth, rejection letters of being ignored by employees may lead to internalized feelings of inadequacy. Sometimes you may feel that, and the reason behind this is that every time, think positive. What if they call me? Right. Sometimes they ask you in the interview, they ask you about your salary expectation and so on. You need to have that in mind. What do the person of my caliber, with my qualification, my experience, and in the job market? Don't be low, don't be too high, be real. Those things of negotiation about money, you can do it already when you are inside the company. But at the same time, you need to give them a market-related salary. But your experience and so on, you tell them, with my experience, I've been working for this job for 10 years or whatever the reason might be, if you're moving from one company to the other. But if you are new, you are just having an honors or master's degree, that also works as an experience that I have already learned the theoretical work of this, and the practical work of it, I did it for a shorter period, but I'm willing to learn and so on. Those are the kind of aspects that can give them, that can increase your self-esteem and self-worth, because sometimes that can be lost as a result of the rejection, as a result of the feedback that you get from them. People may start questioning their skills, intelligence, or level of the professional. So long as you are the one who past it, I'm telling you now, you are in the pole position. You can be able to do it. You can demonstrate to them how best can you do this. This is important for everyone who's looking for a job, because apart from this can affect and give a toll psychologically. If you got rejection, if no feedback, no positive feedback, or if they ask you question, you ask them question, what would you need? Sometimes you find these people when you are in the interview, they ask them to ask question, and then don't ask question that's going to switch you off. When you ask, you wanted to hear, maybe there's a question that did not answer well, you said, what will you do in this situation? When they give you the answer, you said, oh, I did not answer it right. Then that can demoralize you. Or you can ask general question, and then you must show them the positivity and tell them, when are you expecting me to start the position, to show them you are positive about joining the company. Sometimes that can bring about depression and hopelessness. Sometimes you have looking for a job for so long, you have sent close to 20 or 50 CVs, but none of the companies called you back. Sometimes it's a time for you to draw back and go back and ask the friends, you ask Papuani, check my CV. What do you think is the problem here in my CV? Then we can go through your CV and say, this is the challenge. I think you must change it like this, you have given them too much than they wanted to see, because they already know you before you come to the company. What is the purpose for them to call you to come for the interview? Because they've already seen you. But you must give them the glimpse for them to be interested. We need this person to tell us more about this because we don't have it in their CV. Long job searches can lead to feelings of hopelessness or depressive symptoms. That is possible to everyone. Even me, during my time when I was looking for a job, sometimes I ask myself, am I inadequacy enough, or what is happening with me? Am I the bad person? Why other people are getting it's so easy? Why people are job hopping from this job, they go to this one, they go to that one, they go to that one? Or these people, are they saying to the companies, I need any amount of salary, is fine? What is happening to me? Because I'm also looking for any salary as a start, I can do that. And then we have got a decision fatigue, whereby we constantly customize resume, resume, the difference between a resume and CV. The CV is a long document, a resume is a short and a precise document, which is zooming strictly to the position that we're dealing with, preparing for the interview, dealing with repeated uncertainty, depleted mental energy. I'm not saying mental energy here, you must start drinking dragon so that you can get energy when you're going for the interview. You are going to become like a rat there, you are too much hyper. So you need to focus, you must drink a lot of water when you're going for the interview, because the energy needs to be there, a normal energy that you have, not the one that you borrowed from the dragons and the other stuff. And the money, motivation, cognitive focus, it is crucial and to acknowledge this challenge and take proactive steps to maintain your mental resilience. Every time, even if you are coming for the interview, you must show that you are resilient. You must show them that even before I come to an interview, I was living, That is why sometimes I remember one of the interview, if not my graduation, I went to there borrowing somebody's jacket because I don't even have a jacket to go for the graduation. I borrow from my friend to borrow me a jacket, and then so every time I show him you see your jacket, that was my first qualification that I achieved with a jacket. You should be proud even if you don't have qualification. So maybe because I, for one, I do not have my self-esteem is very high, because I can even challenge the principal position if they advertise it for the sake of it. They will be interested. Let's call this guy and see what he's gonna say. When I reach it there, they will just say, it's just that he's too young, man, for the position. But hey, he gave us a run of our money. That's what you need to have. Feelings of shame, of embarrassment, social withdrawal sometimes can happen, may cause individual to avoid friends, family, and network opportunities, because every time when you go to the family gathering, where are you working? They ask you those questions, and then that becomes more frustrating, and it gives you a toll mentally. Sometimes you avoid friends because all your friends are working. So that one alone, it also affects your self-esteem. It affects you. It makes you to feel like when they are in the things, I'm not going to go and join them, these ones. I'm going to be not even going to anyone. The moment you avoid them and you become solitude, then that is where the depression sink in. So that is why it's important to have friends who will support you even when you are lowest low, so that those ones, they will be there with you, move with you, because they know that it's a matter of time. When you've got qualification, I'm telling you now, I want to be honest with you, you will never die without having a job. It's just that it can take time for you to get a job. But when you get a job, you're going to get a job which is fulfilling, which can pay you back them. So therefore, you don't even worry about people saying to you, you have just wasted your time of studying in NEFSAS or whatever. The bottom line is, it's a matter of time. You're going to get your money back when you get a job. And it's important for you to realize that people will talk, and they won't stop talking because of you. They will continue talking even when you are gone. So therefore, so long as you've got qualification, I guarantee you, you are going to get a job that you want. I'm not trying to motivate you so that you mustn't worry. The bottom line is, that is why I'm saying to myself in my life, so long as I've got qualification, the job that I'm looking for is still waiting for me. It's just that we haven't met. It's like looking for a partner. Maybe your partner is in PE or it's in Durban. You haven't met to each other. But once you meet, you're going to feel this is the one that God has kept for me. The potential positive psychological effects of resilience and growth, the experience that can teach persistence, adaptability, and emotional endurance. So despite all the negative that people tell you, you always have to be resilient all the time. You have to endure emotionally. Once you are emotionally mature, whatever people say, you won't worry about it. It's like saying to me, Fatwani, you are bald-headed and you are too ugly and what, I wouldn't worry, because there's one thing that I know which is written, which I'm made in the image, which whether it's a spirit, which is the image of God. I don't care whether it's my face or whether it's my head, but it doesn't matter. That's the bottom line. So long as you are proud about yourself, you should never, ever allow anyone to tell you who you are not. Because if you wait for people to give you that, you are going to have a problem the rest of your remaining years. I'm deliberating saying the rest of your remaining years because I don't know when you're going to leave us. Many people develop better coping strategies and problem solving skills. So sometimes when you are going through the interview and the skills that I've learned through the process, it can give you the way in which you solve problems, not only in one areas, but in different dimensions. So that skills you learn them. Sometimes in the one interview, you can learn this. In the other interview, it can help you to take what you have learned from the previous one to put it into this place, and then this and that. That's why UNISA as well and my sister Mama Shu, we have got a lot of workshop that civil writing skills. We've got another workshops that we do job hunting like this one. We've got a lot of things, a support system that can help you to understand what you can do with what you have. That's why sometimes when you are done, you need to self-reflect and redirection. Job hunting can encourage and reflect on personal goals, values, and what truly matters in their career. That is why sometimes people choose the job that they don't want, because that is what is available. But I always say to students from UNISA, look for the job that you have got skills for. You will never work even a single day of your life. I, for one, I don't work. My job is to do my hobby. And while I'm doing my hobby, I get paid. So my manager is a luckiest person because she have identified what my hobby is. And she knows, this guy, if you give him presentation, he's going to do it, because that becomes my hobby. So therefore, I don't work. Even if you can wake me up and give me a presentation 30 seconds before presenting without me reading it, I'm going to do it. Why? I have chosen a career that I love, so that not even a single day of my life I'm going to work. I'm going to my career. That means I won't get bored. So even whatever you can say to me now, it will never demoralize you. Then they've got this issue of skills development. Searching for work often involves learning new skills. There should always be new skill being learned. So you need to network. When you're meeting us, ask for our number, not for other things. Just ask for our number. When you hear opportunity part one, please just email me. I will also be liking to come to a workshop or whatever the things is. When you meet us, just ask for our email address and so on, so that sometimes we get these opportunities and we don't even know who to send them to. Then we teach you some interview techniques, digital tools, personal branding that increase long-term confidence. Sometimes you need those small skills that you think they are not of no use, but they've got a long-term effect, and they can assist you when it comes to job hunting. They can assist you to increase your self-esteem. They can assist you to feel your self-worth, because they are there to develop you. They are there to help you to put things together. It's not a matter of having money. We started without having anything. If I give you my geography from where I started, or you call it history, whichever you call it, but to me it's my geography. If I give you my geography, you will be amazed and surprised to me how this guy should not be where he is today. But here we are, we're striving, we are motivating you. Not only do we motivate you, sometimes we tell you things that, no gosh, I do not know that this thing is so simple like this, but this guy is not telling me something, anything new. I don't need to tell you something new. I need to tell you something that you know, so that you must start from what is known. Because if I start to tell you things new, you will be very shocked and you won't even understand anything. That's why it's so important for you to always take the skills, small skills. I keep on telling people, say there's no one who doesn't have experience here when you're looking for a job. It's just that maybe your experience is not relevant to the job that you're looking for. You are now, they're asking for the supervision position. You have been supervising your siblings at home every day. When they are waking up, you have to wake them up in the morning. You have to make sure that they've got food to eat at school. You have to make sure that the homework are done. That is supervision. It's just that it's not supervision at work context, but you must show them that, you know what, even if I haven't been a supervisor before, I have been supervising the whole life in my life, making sure that there's food. I tell my father that there must be rice before month end, because here the rice is not take us, it's not going. There's no food. I ask, why there's no food? The rice is finished last week. This is power of management, empathy and perspective, experiencing uncertainty can build compassion to others in similar situations, and hence interpersonal understanding. This is also the issue of empathy, understanding, moving in somebody's shoes, although you cannot move on my shoes because my shoes is free and you are aware phones, man. So therefore, empathy is about understanding what others are going through in a time of need. So therefore, you can move with them, either you hold their hand or you move with them side by side. I prefer moving side by side so that you can see that they are not remaining behind. It's only Jesus who can move in front of the people and then trust them that they're going to follow. But with us, we need to move with side by side, because chances are, if we leave you behind, you are going to be taken by the people behind without seeing where you are going. Those are the issue of empathy and perspective. We need to move with you, and that is what we are always doing within UNISA. We make sure that all our students get the best of us. That is why if they ask me to come and present, I can stop anything for the sake of you, because you are too important for me. You might take it for granted, even if I don't have an opportunity to do it. I make sure that, you know what, don't tell me that Mama, I won't have an opportunity to talk to them. Give me that chance, because I don't want these people to wait for me and then I'm not appearing. They end up saying, but he was not there and we saw his name in the program. So that is why it's important for me to come to talk to you, so that you did need to understand that everything that you do in life, do as if somebody's watching, because you don't know who's watching. It's a principle of doing things right from the first time. That's what I do. I don't take it for granted when students says, we need you to have us on this day, we have got this and this. I always make time for them. Why? It's important. I don't know, sometimes you might be my boss another time in life. I don't know where. We might meet somewhere where you are in a position of authority, and they say, this one, I know him, he can do the job. Let him do the job. I'm not talking about people who are just given things mahala without working for them. So coping strategies can set daily routines. Structure help maintain a sense of control. Sometimes when you're setting structures, it will help you to create a sense of control. Celebrate small wins. Please, you don't need to worry about the big wins. The big wins start as a result of small wins. Even sending application or updating a resume counts as a progress. That's a progress. Now today you've learned something, you must put it in your CV. I've attended this workshop and I've been motivated that I mustn't give up. Giving up is not an option. Stay connected. Support from peers or job-seeking groups reduces isolation, because isolation leads to anxiety. It leads to depression. Practice self-compassion. Reaction is often systematic, not personal. Balance job search with rest. It incorporate hobbies, exercise, and relaxation. Walk. Don't just sit down. You must sometimes walk. You must sometimes go places. Sometimes you must use a lift. You must just walk. You must just walk. You know, some of you don't even walk anymore. Sometimes now you have got even phones that tells you that how many steps you have walked, how many calories you have burnt. You need that. You need to have exercise. 6, professional support from me, career counselors or therapists, or provide guidance and emotional support. That is what I'm giving you now. Emotional support. I will be with you whether you like it or not. You don't choose me. I choose you, because you are our students. So I will always be with you. So you see, I don't need you to choose me. I will choose you, because I've chosen you. You are our students. So why not we do what our students need? That is the strategies that we always do. We work with the students. We make sure that our students get the best of us. And every time when we do, we even outsource services from other stakeholders from outside. If you can check there on the program, there was people from external who are also supporting our students, because we know that they've got a skill that we don't have. You cannot be an island. We need to work together in order for the betterment of our students.
Okay, I just wanted to ask the previous speaker that how do I navigate through the negativities of being told that, like instance, I live in the Eastern Cape, so how do I navigate through the told that, no, bro, you can apply, you can go to school, you can obtain your qualifications. However, if you're not related to anyone in those government departments, you won't get the job. So how do I remain positive through all those negative condensations?
Good question. Where are you in Eastern Cape? Why didn't you come and meet me here in East London? Maybe perhaps if I give you my hand, things will change. I want to say to you, very challenging indeed. We know that some jobs are based on condition, but the bottom line is they will never finish all the position with their families. Even if they put all their families, they will always be your position. And not because you are their family, because of your skill. Sometimes they'll give you that lower position within that department of what you are looking for, but they will realize that their family member cannot do what you do. Therefore, they need to give you a higher position to cater for that. So if at first you don't succeed, try and try and try again. The bottom line is you will never ever, if you have got qualification, stay the way you are. Whether there's a family positions, there will always be a position for you. It's just that maybe the time for that position for you to come is not ready. But don't give up. I'm telling you, to be honest with you, I, for one, I just tell you that even if they've got a position that they reserve for a person in their company or their family member, if they get my CV and they make a biggest mistake of calling me for an interview, they will have a second thought to let's give this guy a chance, and they were going to create another position for this person because this guy he has beaten our person hands down. And then there's a lady luck which is going to be at play, and God will be in your midst as well. Because even if they have position that they say they reserve for those people, there will always be something that is belonging to you. So don't give up. So long as you've got qualification, you'll never ever die with your qualification without working. That's the bottom line.
Thank you, Father, with the good response. Another question from Tebo Kenzani Masongani. Can you please unmute your mic and ask your question? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. My question, I would like to know as to like, how will I know how much to share on my CV? Because the presenter has mentioned that sometimes we do not get called for the interview. We do not get called for the interview since like we overshare things on our CV, but some other employers, they prefer that you share a lot of information. Like for instance, on your experience, you must explain what you did, how you did it, where you worked, for how long, and all that. So I would like to know as to how do I know how much to share for a job application?
Yeah, each advertisement has got job specs and requirements. Okay, your CV, there will be no one CV which is one size fits all. Every job that you applied for, you use the same CV. So each CV should be specific for that particular position. So therefore, you're gonna zoom in and try to answer each requirement that they have mentioned there, but don't give them all of what you must say in the interview. What are you going to say to them if you give them everything in the CV? Because the bottom line is you still need to be called for interview, and you elaborate more of what they are leaving some gaps. The other thing that I think, I don't know if they did CV writing here, that's why it's important for you not to leave gap until you worked in 2005, right? And then you left the job. You don't tell us what happened in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10. We hear you again appearing again in 2011. That's the gap that they will need to ask. What is going on with this person? This person, was he dead this time, or what is going on? So those kind of things, you need to fill the gaps in the CV. But your CV, even if it's concise, it must give them the details of the position that they've asked for and the experience that the job that it requires there. Don't tell us about another things that is not related to the job that you are requested. So you can cut other stuff that you have done which are not related to the position. Perhaps when they ask you in the job, you can then put it in. It might add value, but the bottom line is there's no way wherein you must give them everything, because giving them everything, there's no need for them to call you for interview because they've already seen you already, and we don't want them to see you before. It's important for us to understand that. That's what how we work around this.
Thank you so much, Mr. Magahane. I think with relation to CV writing and interviewing skills, we do have our next speaker who is going to actually broaden it up for us for any question that is related to CV writing and interviewing skills.
So without wasting much time, let's welcome Ms. Henley. She is the strategic sourcing specialist. So with her presentation, she'll be focusing on job readiness, CV writing, and interview skills. Ms. Henley, the floor is yours.
I'll focus in my talk to you today on the more practical aspects of job hunting, interview skills, and CV writing. So like I mentioned earlier, this presentation is going to be about being job ready, being interview strong, and also having a sharp CV. So I'll first introduce myself and who I am and where I come from. So I'm a career coach and a recruiter. My name is Hanlie van der Vyver. I have been in the recruitment industry for the past 20 plus years, focusing on recruitment and talent development. But if I go way back, I graduated high school, and there's no money for further studies or anything like that. So I saved up a few rands through part-time jobs, and then I went abroad and I worked there at Burger King, washing floors and flipping burgers, saving up a bit of money as well, and then coming back to South Africa, where I started my career as a receptionist and an admin person in the recruitment industry. And from there, started working in the recruitment industry, but I always wanted to do my degree in industrial psychology. And I eventually saved up some money and I started my BA industrial psychology through UNISA. That's many years ago. And I completed that while working part-time. I completed my studies, thereby increasing my experience in the recruitment industry as well, where I then started working for EduVos, the college previously known as CTI, where I did the recruitment for them and I placed their graduates in first jobs. So I got my experience in graduate recruitment there as well. And then afterwards worked for an agency. Then I wanted to pursue my postgrad studies. I registered for my BA honors in industrial psychology through UNISA. I completed that while I was working as well. And then I started my own IT recruitment agency probably like 15 years ago, focusing on IT recruitment. And currently, I am a student at UNISA. I'm doing my master's in psychology. I'm doing a thesis on employee wellness and burnout, especially in the recruitment industry. So with all that said, what I'm trying to say is I know your journey firsthand. I come from humble beginnings, and I agree with many of my previous colleagues in speaking to say that if you show up and you don't give up, eventually, you will reach a goal that you're aiming for. So with that said about me, and today is going to be about assisting you in finding jobs, doing a CV, being interview ready, and hopefully securing your first position as a graduate soon. So yeah, I started my own recruitment agency, and I started another company called the Interview School, where I developed guides to assist graduates like yourself to bridge the gap between your academic excellence and your career success. I developed the Job Seeker Pro Kit that'll assist you to help you from where you maybe feel lost at the moment into where you can be hired soon. So I'll talk to you a little bit more about that later. And I think first things first, what I'll touch on today briefly is up to your career success. So there are a few aspects that, as you know, you should focus on. Firstly, as previously mentioned as well, having a CV that really stands out, being able to master the interview process, or at least do well in an interview. I'm going to talk a little bit about AI tools. I know it's quite controversial these days. AI, people are scared. Some people say it's going to take away our jobs, etc. I am a firm believer that with AI tools, if we use it ethically, it can really optimize our daily lives. It can optimize our jobs. It can optimize our job search and all the rest that flows from that. And then I'll touch a bit on the exclusive resources that I can also provide UNISA students after my presentation today. So I think if we look at CVs, our CVs need to stand out as a graduate or as any applicant, because your CV will probably be one of many CVs that applies for a role. So teach yourself or learn to craft a CV or a resume that'll pass the applicant tracking system filters, that'll make recruiters excited to phone you, that'll make your CV stand out. Learn how to master an interview well. There are a few proven techniques that work in an interview, especially when you are nervous. I'll talk to you a little bit about that a little bit later as well. As I mentioned, AI tools, leverage of ChatGPT, or there are various other, highly exclusive AI tools that you can use for free. Use that to prepare your CV better, to prepare better for interviews, faster and more efficiently. but we'll talk a little bit about that later. So I think first things first, if we talk about first tool that'll enable you to apply for a job, secure an interview, and then hopefully secure a position as well, is CV writing. So as long as you keep in mind that your CV isn't just a list of what you've done, obviously it does list what you've done, but it's a personal marketing document. So that document will tell potential employers who you are, and it'll hopefully open a door for you to an interview, which could lead to a job opportunity. So I think in today's day and times, 2025, we need to turn things on its head a bit. We need to leave the old approach to a CV and look at it differently in modern times. So just a small example, let's say, for instance, in an old CV, somebody would have said, I worked as a cashier at Checkers for this period of time. Turn things on its head and think differently about how you are going to position yourself and market yourself to a potential employer. Stand out with your CV, from the first application. So instead of saying worked as a cashier at Checkers, you can use an impact-driven approach where you say, I've managed high-volume customer transactions and reduced till errors by 15% in 3 months. It's the same task that you perform, but it's just the way that you word it in your CV. And as I mentioned before, use AI tools if you have access to a PC in wording your CV better. So use a tool to transform your experience. So if you use a prompt, like for instance, rewrite my experience of a specific section using active verbs and tailoring it for a customer service assistant role, keep it short and impact driven. You'll be amazed at the wording that comes out of that. And obviously don't copy and paste that into your CV, but you can use that as a framework and a structure and a guidance into improving the wording in your CV. And by that, potentially attracting attention to your CV and then thereby securing an interview. The winning CV structure, the unicorn CV, I believe that if you keep it simple, as Mr. Makahane said before, simple and related to the position they're applying, and word it well, you've already ticked one of the most important boxes. So if you keep it simple with a personal summary, list your education, experience, and skills and tools, that'll be a good framework for you to educate the potential employer in what you could bring to the table. So with a personal summary, again, turn it up on its head a little bit, use 1 or 2 powerful lines that'll capture your unique value and career focus to the potential employer. So again, as I said, use tools, online tools, AI tools to word it more powerfully, that you attract attention so that they can see what value you can bring to a role that you're applying for. With education, sorry, to get back into personal summary, and maybe just comment on one of the previous colleagues that asked about what to include and exclude on the CV. I would say keep it concise and summarized with personal summary. First, a powerful line in terms of what you can bring to the table of your experience related to the role, but then just your name, surname, contact details, keep it concise, because keeping in mind that a recruiter or an HR manager or a hiring manager, they do receive quite a few CVs. So your goal is not to, write paragraphs and lists and pages of personal information, but to keep it concise, but still to stand out from some of the other applicants. Next, your education, highlight the relevant modules that you've maybe completed or are busy completing that's related to the role that you're applying for. Academic achievements, always mention your benchmark. I think somebody's mic is on. Academic achievements, always mention your academic achievements, whether it's you did really well in the subject or you got a dean's list or whatever that might have been. In tertiary education, always list academic achievements. That could also be highlighted and related to the role that you're applying for, because it shows commitment, it shows that you showed up, you worked hard, that's a valuable skill in the workplace. And then obviously skills that you've gained through the studies. Again, connecting to the previous speaker, that skills that you've gained through your studies, whether that's through working in projects, whether that's through maybe mentoring a junior graduate or tutoring, any skills that you've gained through your studies by the process of completing your degree could be highlighted on your CV, especially if it's related to the role that you're applying for. Experience, many of you won't have any work experience, but if you focus on the impact and results of the jobs that you did, that could be related to the job that you're applying for, it'll show what you've accomplished and not just what you did. So list the experience if you've been a tutor or a mentor or you were a project lead that's related to the role that you're applying for, please mention that in your CV as well. Again, summarized. Skills and tools, that'll include listed on your CV as well, especially technical proficiencies like Microsoft Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. If you worked on Canva before, if you've worked with AI tools before, it's always valuable in today's days and times with corporate or non-corporate roles in the workplace. So list those things that you have done, whether it's formal or self-taught. Then quick fixes to up-level any CV. Again, thinking about things a little bit differently to stand out on your CV. The job title of your CV, at the top of your CV, instead of just writing curriculum vitae or CV or resume, rather use the job title that you're applying for on top of your CV. So that'll make your CV look a little bit different, and it'll let them notice your CV quicker. So instead of saying CV, say customer support intern or human resources assistant or junior applications engineer, whatever the role is you're applying for, put that on top of your CV instead of saying just CV. Again, in your CV, to elevate your CV a bit, use action verbs in your CV over just normal generic words. So transform, I say weak, but transform generic general language and use stronger words like managed or I led a project team in my final semester project that we did on application development, for instance. I worked with 3 other students, but I was responsible for these outcomes, or however that may be. So use action verbs instead of passive descriptions in your CV. Again, use AI tools, technology to assist you in improving your CV around that as well. Or another tool is Grammarly is another tool as well. Then quantify your impact. So instead of just saying you have this function, add numbers to your CV wherever you can in terms of your work experience. So say you helped reduce stock loss by 10%. It's a far more tangible impact that you had instead of just saying something vague on your CV. And in your achievement section, if you lack extensive work experience, create a section highlighting, like I said earlier, academic or volunteer accomplishments, especially related to the job that you're applying for. Also, format your CV for readability. Use bullet points instead of long paragraphs, because recruiters and HR managers, they need to scan through CVs. They unfortunately don't have time to read long, lengthy documents. So keep it concise, to the point, and related to the job that you're applying for. Use AI, use Grammarly to polish your wording and catch mistakes if you've missed it. Again, using your authentic voice, change it to relevant to you, but use these tools to optimize your CV and summarize it to make it seem professional. Then as I mentioned earlier, I developed the interview school with a job seeker pro kit, and I've got a free CV checklist that is exclusive to all the participants of today's seminar. You can download my free CV checklist that'll help you to see if your CV meets today's standards, see if there are any mistakes that you've missed before you send your CV off. As I said, use AI strategically to improve your CV and to stand out, in a competitive applicant pool. It's for free. I'll give you a link for a download or information to do that afterwards and after my presentation. And then, of course, I've got other guides and videos as well that you are welcome to access that will assist you in the job hunt. So that's from blowing up your LinkedIn profile to improving your CV, to looking for jobs, finding jobs that are not maybe advertised, to interview skills, and I'm launching one soon about once you've secured a job, how to stand out in the workplace. And then next, I just want to check the time quickly. Next, the next important aspect in the job hunt is interview skills. Important to understand or to remember that interviews aren't about memorizing perfect answers. It's about demonstrating a few critical qualities, which is self-awareness, understanding the company that you're applying at, and your problem-solving ability. So when it comes to self-awareness, think about it before you go for an interview. Understand where your strengths lie. Know that none of us are perfect. There are areas of self-improvement and growth. What are those areas for you, and what value can you bring to the table or add to the company? Know that and be aware of that before you go for an interview, so that when you are asked about it, that it comes naturally for you to talk about that. Research the company before you go for an interview, or the institution, what they do in the marketplace, maybe what the pain points are in the role and their current challenges. Prepare that and be prepared to talk about that and to engage around that during an interview. And then when asked about your CV and your experience or your qualifications, demonstrate how you can tackle real world problems and challenges effectively. Just a quick example, for instance, if you're asked a real graduate interview question like, tell us about a time you worked under pressure, instead of saying, I work well under pressure, which is not a very strong answer, use the STAR method when you answer job interview questions. Again, you can go and research this on your own time as well, or we can chat about this at a later stage. But the STAR acronym stands for situation, task, action, and result. So when asked an answer about, for instance, a time you worked under pressure, think about a situation. Maybe retail staff was short during Black Friday. The task you did was you managed the queues and to reduce complaints. The action you did was you split the queues, worked double shifts, and the result was the manager was praised your initiative, and complaints was dropped by 40%. So this is just a quick example of how using this method to answer interview questions can make you seem more employable as a potential employee. Again, when nerves strike, we all get nervous during interviews. I've got a few emergency interview tactics that you can use. So freezing during interview is natural, it's just normal. Your brain's fight and flight response kicks in. So here are a few little tips that you can use to feel calmer and to regain control during an interview. The first is the toe clench technique. This is whether you are in a virtual interview or physically. Obviously, if you've got closed toe shoes. I always say secretly clench your toes for 5 seconds, because this physical action that you do, it interrupts your freeze and response in an interview, and it helps your brain to reboot. Interviews won't notice. You'll get a bit of a pause to regain calmness, and you can continue from there. Take a sip of water. So take a sip of water, it buys you a few seconds to think while you appear composed and professional. Or if you're online, this one is a bit dicey, but if you're online and you feel really scrambled or really nervous, in a virtual interview, briefly mute yourself to go gather your thoughts. Keep it short, very short, and still maintain eye contact, and then continue from there. Another practical AI tool that I always talk to graduates about is use an AI tool and give it a prompt to say, ask me 5 interview questions for an HR intern role and help me answer them with the STAR method. And then you can practice a few responses on these type of interview questions. So if you are posed with that during the interview, that it feels natural and that it flows more easily. You can prepare like a pro in a few minutes before an interview. Obviously, always prepare before you go for an interview. Research the current company news. So you can type in company plus news, and you can see what's trending, what developments are happening from their side, so that you know who the company is that you're interviewing with. Look at the job ad, decode the job ad, analyze what they are really looking for just beyond the requirements, and see where you can solve those pain points that they are posing. And then again, as I keep on preaching, use AI to optimize your process. So say generate a tailored cover letter based on this job and my CV. Use that information, customize the wording, and use that when you apply for jobs in your authentic voice. Interviews are conversations, not interrogations. I always tell applicants that remember that you've been invited for an interview, which is the first amazing step. They want you to be the person for the job just as much as you want the job, because it solves a pain point for them, and you win, they win. So always remember that it's not an interrogation, it's an opportunity for you to have a good conversation, to tell them what you can bring to the table. As I said, shift your mindset from being tested to having a professional dialogue. It should be a mutual fit. So they need you just as much as you need the job. So if you approach each interview as an opportunity to share your story and tell them what you can bring to the table, that's a win for everybody. And that's me. So what I'll do after we're done here, I'll share all of this information for you that you can get in contact with me, because I'm running out of time a little bit. But please connect with me if you want to on LinkedIn. All my information's on LinkedIn. I post jobs there. I post job tips there. I've got a newsletter, etc., workshops. On Instagram, you can follow the interview school. I post new guides that are published on there, as well as job tips. And then there's the interview school's website link as well, or just email me at handy@theinterviewschool.co.za. And I also have a WhatsApp channel that you can join, and you can obviously jobs and tips I post on there regularly. And that is it from me. So you're more than welcome. I'm going to switch on my camera as well. To connect with me, as I said, on LinkedIn or on Instagram or on the web. All my information is in the chat box, and then I'll be more than willing to assist you wherever I can.
I see in the section, for example, we must input our address or our conversations, contact details or something like that. Then how will they be able to contact you or whatnot? That address situation is a bit confusing for me. And the second one was going to be a question, but you've answered it by sharing a tool that we can utilize as students to sort of design our CVs are looking like. But this is more a question that I'm going to ask. What would be your word of advice and motivation? Someone who's, in our society, they say a late bloomer. You have all these qualifications. You are an for learning. What would you advise them to do? So yeah, I'll keep it short. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Okay, Innocent, sorry, you broke up quite a bit there, so it's a bit of interrupted data, but I think the first question was around disclosing confidential information on your CV. Yes, obviously that's a sensitive subject, but there are a few basic information that I feel you must or have to disclose in your CV. You don't need to put your ID number or your physical address or anything like that on your CV, but I would advise you to put at least the province that you are based in or the town that you are based in, so that employers can see where you are based in relation to where they are. And then also your name and surname and your contact number and email, because otherwise they won't be able to reach you. So that's the first. I hope that answers your first question. Then the second question was about around being a late bloomer. Is that correct?
Yes, you have all these qualifications, you are in continuous learning, and you are creating yourself both professionally as an individual, and you just don't get that break. And being from African background, there's always that pressure, and then you get married, and then what would you say?
Sorry, I'm going to have to stop you.
I only have 2 questions for you. I realized that having a gap in your CV seems like a red flag. So I want to ask if you have had, like, maybe you have a
a gap of about 5 years or so where you were studying something else, but then it wasn't successful and you switched careers and you did a different degree. How do you now account for that time you spent in a different qualification? Because of now, you can't add it and say, I have this qualification since it was unsuccessful, right? And then my second question is, when it comes to the part of professional development and upskilling, let's say now the skills that I've learned, it was self-taught maybe through YouTube, where I do not have a professional certification that states that I completed a short course in this and this. How do I now also include it in my CV? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I think firstly, when it comes to a gap on a CV, both from a recruiter's perspective and just advisory perspective as well, if there's a gap on your CV, whether you've studied and not completed your that qualification or did work not related to the job that you're applying for, it's always good to note that on your CV. So don't just leave it out. Do mention the dates of that gap in your CV and what you did, and just say that you did not complete that qualification, because it's not always not lost, even if you did not complete the qualification. Maybe you did 3 out of the 4 years of the qualification, or 2 out of the 3 years of the qualification. Those were still modules that you completed, and whether you completed that did not complete it out of maybe financial restraints, or you changed course, do mention the time that you were busy with that course, just so that people can know that's the time that you were busy with this specific qualification, for instance. Just be transparent about it, and I think state it on your CV, and be open to just chatting about that as well. It shows that you can pivot from situations that were maybe not ideal for you, and you still kept on going on and kept on showing up. So I would say, yeah, so do not hide it. I think state it clearly in your CV, be open and prepared to have a conversation about what you did in that period and how that aided you to be where you are now and to be able to apply for this job. And then again with professional courses as well. If it's not a professional formal qualification like a certificate or a postgrad diploma, or a formal online or qualification certificate that you've completed, if it's a course that you did maybe through Udemy, or like you said through YouTube, I would pose it under a section in your CV that maybe says soft skills, and you can list those skills that you've learned, whether it's a physical technical skill on an IT related, or maybe a soft skill. Do list it, even though it's not a formal certificate that you've obtained. Especially, again, like I always say, circle back to if it's related to the role that you're applying for, within limitations. But if you feel it's a really good skill that you've obtained through that course or online resource that you completed, do list it on your CV.
I just want to ask, because I've often heard that, let's say when you apply for positions, you need to adjust your CV, especially the skills, depending on the position that you are applying for.
Yes, that is
so. So that is correct.
Yes.
So I want to know, let's say, for example, I'll make an example. Let's say I'm applying at UNISA, where I have to upload my CV online. So how is it gonna work now when it comes to applying for different positions? Because when it comes to adjusting my skills, what do I do? Does it mean do I have to upload different CVs so that I know this one goes for which position, or how do I measure it without complicating things? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Fortunately and unfortunately, I would advise you, especially at an early stage in your career, or probably at any stage in your career, if you apply for various different roles at an institution like UNISA, for instance, and so different roles that have different duties, adjust your CV according to each role. So you don't need to do different CVs, but just adjust the wording in your CV that it relates to the role that you're applying for. So I'm unsure, obviously, of the industry that you are in, but I would advise you to adjust adjust each CV to the role that you're applying for. Tweak it slightly, maybe with the title that you currently are in, or the role that you're applying for, or any relevant information to the role that you're applying for. Because again, if you are one of 50 CVs, if there's someone that mentioned relevant experience that got to the role that you're applying for, that might
Yes,
count
yes.
in their favor.
All right, all right. No, thank you, thank you.
I have two questions. The first question is, if you write on your CV that maybe you're a cashier and you write that you managed to increase sales by 20%, or you managed to reduce stock losses by 5%, when you're called to an interview, will they not need proof of that statement or anything to show that, like anything that will reassure them that that is what you did? And my second question is, if you resigned from a job and you're called in an interview and you're asked the reason for leaving your previous job, do you just state that you resigned because you were seeking better career opportunities, or is there a way that you can answer that question that doesn't state that, like, every single time that you would require career growth, you would just resign from your job? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. I think on the first question, just to reiterate or to maybe clarify, if you, as you mentioned, if you say in your CV, instead of just saying you're a cashier at Checkers, and you said that you increase sales or reduce stock losses by so many, however percentage, or it should obviously always be facts and be the truth. So if you state that in your CV, that should be able to be proven by a reference check. So for instance, so if you mention that in your CV, that should be actual things that happened while you were cashier at Checkers, so that if this potential employer phones your references afterwards, they can confirm it. So it should be the truth. It should be tangible. It should be something that can be confirmed maybe by your manager, because that's important to always to talk the truth around these things. But I think my point was just around wording it differently. So I hope that answered your first question. And then secondly, the reason for leaving. Again, always be truthful about it, but maybe just word it differently. So if you left a role for the right reasons in terms of career growth, there's no harm in saying that to a potential employer, but then just pose it. I mean, why? So if you left a role to be employed in a new role that were more aligned to your career goals, or maybe more towards what your career plans are, then you should mention that. Yeah, so reason for leaving should never be, unless there was a very, very big negative thing that happened, even then it should be discussed and not hidden, but still it should never be something to be nervous to talk about, because we all want career progression. We're all working towards a goal. Sometimes negative things happen in a workplace where it's a toxic workplace. And then you can say you left because there was a culture misalignment, So always speak the truth, but it's just keep in mind to circle it back to your career goals or what you're aiming towards. I hope that answers your question.
I'd like to ask, if you don't have a lot of experience, what kind of thing can I put to make myself stand out on my CV?
Okay, so it depends on, obviously, on your qualification and any exposure that you've had, but let's just, like all playing fields equal, if you maybe graduated high school and went directly into your studies, if you did any part-time work while you were studying, even if it's not directly related to your studies or the job you're applying for, I would say use that as your experience on your CV, but highlight the duties you performed in those jobs that could aid you to perform this new job that you're applying for. If there are none of those, which I almost can't believe it, if there are any of those duties that does not align to the new job, then you can just list the jobs that you've done. Let's say you've graduated high school, you completed your tertiary, and you have got no work experience. Then I would focus on experience, because again, connecting to Mr. Makahani's conversation earlier, remember that even if you didn't formally work in the formal workplace, throughout your studies, you were involved maybe in student groups or student projects, or maybe tutoring, or whatever that may be. There would have been a few projects or dissertations or research, groups or alike that you were involved in, that you gained experience, whether that was leading a group, doing the presentations, doing a bit of project management, maybe doing the admin, maybe doing the marketing or the presentation itself to a supervisor. Any function that you perform during your studies while completing your studies could also be connected to the role that you're applying for. For instance, let's say you're applying for, let's think off the cuff. Let's say you're a computer science graduate and you're applying for a software developer role. Yes, you've never been a software developer in the workplace, but I am almost 100% sure that during the completion of your studies, you worked on a few coding projects, or you had to develop an app or anything like that. So that could be duties that you performed in your studies that you could relate directly to the role that you're applying for. I hope that answers your question.
And let's call Miss Mama Shumawua. She will deliver the vote of thanks of this workshop, and also she will just reiterate on the importance of that evaluation link. Thank you.
Colleagues and students, good afternoon. My name is Mama Shumawua. As Malisela has introduced me, I'm a student counselor in Johannesburg, in Gauteng region of UNISA. And mine is just to render a vote of thanks to everyone who is here today from our speakers. Firstly, I would like to thank our program director, Mr. Malisela, who is our TCGP, and he was able to drive this session from the beginning until the end. And also to thank everyone who actually played a role in making sure this workshop runs smoothly from behind the scenes, including my colleagues in Johannesburg and as well as the other colleagues in the Gauteng region. And to thank Ms. Makanya, who is our career specialist, who also managed to, connect us with the right speakers, the likes of Ms. Pumla, who actually came through and instilled so much of hope and faith in our students, and also making sure that our UNISA brand shines out there, especially her being an alumni and also having to be working for the institution. So you can tell that, anything is possible. You can start from the ground and up there and become our VC one day. So, thank you so much, Pumla, for sharing your journey with us. And we hope and pray that, all that you aspire to have in the near future, it comes to life. Being a publisher and as well as completing your PhD studies, and also good luck with your endeavors in master's journey. Also to thank Ms. Kidiboni Nyamakazi, who is also a UNISA student, who is showing so much character in, resilience, ensuring that whatever that, you want to have in life, you can actually have as long as you work hard for it. Swapping careers, changing careers, switching on careers here and there, and, just seeing herself succeeding. This is very much inspiring. So it actually says to us, you should not stuck in one space. If you see that this one is not working for you, you can always change into the other. And it's very much also important for us to remain flexible and, be willing to grasp any opportunity that comes our way. Also, our student alumni, Lungelwa, who also managed to share her story and, in ensuring that she instilled such a hope in our students that are here today. Thank you so much, Lungelwa, and thank you actually for approaching us to say, I have a beautiful story to share with my fellow students. This also shows that, you are a powerhouse, because most often people would not want to do that. Even when you invite them through, they will be like, I don't think I'm good enough to do that. So that as well, it shows that the sky is limit for you. Thank you so much for coming through for us as well, Mr. Makahane. You really came through for us as well with the psychological effects of job seeking. It can be a daunting space in one's life, especially, they always say seeking for a job, it's a job on its own, meaning that as you are navigating into this, there's always something coming. They've even gave you tips on how to go about writing your CV, ensuring that your CV stands out. So this is actually something that you wake up to every day, checking the new post, ensuring that the CV is aligning well with the new post. So obviously your 3-4 hours of your day every day, if you're a job seeker, should go into that, making sure that you get everything right, and sharing those psychological effects, the negativity that comes with it, the rejection, and how to cope with it. It was really eye-opening for our students, and we thank you for that. And Ms. Henley, thank you so much as well for coming through to assist our students with your expertise, with so much experience in this space of recruitment. I believe that our students have learned so much, and we are really thankful for you to have managed to come through for us and assisted us in ensuring that our students get as much information as possible. One thing that I also want to highlight before we go off, that most of our speakers today highlighted on, is the power of mentorship. Given a chance, each and every one of you who is here today, please look out for a mentorship. Get someone who will mentor you, either professionally or socially and psychologically. Sometimes the journey becomes so hard, and we experience so much in our professional journey. You just need someone to hold your hand. It doesn't have to be someone who is going to be checking your CV, but it can be someone who is checking on your mental health as a mentor. So if you are able to get someone who can mentor you, who can hold your hand and walk the journey with you, please get one. And when you are on that space as well, be willing to also mentoring others that are coming after you. With all of that being said, our students, thank you so much for joining us through today, and thank you for sharing with us, and thank you for all the questions. I believe that we have taken all the tips necessary for your journey from where you are seated now going forward. Please ensure that you continue filling in our evaluation form, so that we can actually work according to how you want us to do in future. Thank you so much. And for those who are still continuing with your exams, good luck and goodbye.